All right. Good evening again, everyone. I'm excited. It's a full house tonight. We're going to be jumping right in. Let me see. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so we can go through the slides. I have some logistic updates just to make sure that we're all on the same page there. And then I am also we're going to kick off with the homework for the previous session as well. And then we're going to jump into our material for the evening. As I mentioned, we should have Mac joining at some point today. If you had any questions that would be directed towards him, then he will be around for us. See. Google is so fancy how they just like automatically integrate their their slide decks. But again, welcome back. This is going to be week 2 of our session for the Adalo training. So hopefully for everyone that's here, if you were not here last week, you took some time to go ahead and look through the recording and you could follow along with the slides as well that were provided, just so that you'll be up to date on the material we're going to be going through today. Just a quick reminder, just because I know there's some new folks here. I am Jessica Vaughn. So, of course, I am the instructor for this training. And we also have Mac, which most of you all should probably know. As far as our roles, both of us are co founders with Detroit Black Tech. And we both work in different capacities with the Tech Town program. So, for Mac is actually an entrepreneur in residence at Tech Town. So in his role, he does a lot of coaching with the different founders that are coming into the Start Studio program. And so for myself, I am an independent developer from Tech Town. So I have been an MVP developer for pretty much, well, not pretty much, for every single cohort of the Start Studio MVP program. So we're working together as well on this training. And this is an opportunity for you all to come in and really learn a little bit more about the tool that we're using. Adalo is not the only tool that we have used with the program, but in the last cohort, we implemented this tool in particular because of some of the benefits that it has. So I went through a lot more of those details in the other recording. So I won't really rehash it since you all can just go back and watch those. But so that you kind of have an idea of who is who. So if you have any specific questions about Tech Town, working with Tech Town, you can talk to Mac about that. We both can answer questions about working with Adalo, and I can answer a lot of questions about the experience of being an MVP developer with the Tech Town program. I think everybody should be in Slack. If you were not already invited to Slack, I did send a bunch of invitations last week while we were in session to make sure everyone had an invitation. If you don't have an invitation to Slack, that's okay. Just drop a note in the chat just so that I can know that you need access, or you can use the link. This link should be in the slides as well. You can use this. It should be in last week's slide. So you can use that link to join the channel. We are in MVP Dev Training December 2023. So if you are someone that is already in our Detroit Black Tech Slack channel, then you can just pop in and see. But for the most part, I tried to make sure everyone was already in there. And the other thing I wanted to let you all know is I created a YouTube playlist for our recording. So that way, instead of having to share individual links every week, I would just upload the newest recordings to that playlist. So that playlist is pinned in a message in our Slack channel. There's also a Google Drive folder that is pinned in the message as well. And so after we finish our sessions, I will create a PDF of the slides and I'll upload those to the folder. And then I will upload the newest recording to our playlist. So you can always check those two spots. But I'll give you notices in Slack just to let you know when those materials go live. So you should be good there. I think everyone should also have a calendar invitation for this meeting. We kind of fixed the calendar invitations a few minutes ago. So um, I know we posted the link in Slack, but I did go through and make sure everyone that was on the original invite got added to all 4 sessions. So you should have a calendar invitation for this as well, which to me, I do everything by the calendar. So I live and die by my Google Calendar. So I want to make sure that you all are equipped with that. Um, I see Mac just popped in, so I don't know if you want to jump in. Mac, we're just at the beginning. Next up is going to be homework review and then going into our sessions for or our topics for tonight. I might be calling on him way too soon. All right, I'm going to keep pushing forward and let's talk about homework. So today we'll do the homework review. I'm going to ask for someone to demo that has worked on the homework, and then I'll go over and review the entire process for adding this into the application. And then we are going to be looking at Stripe integration and database collections today. We talked a little bit about databases last week, but we'll get a little bit more in detail, and we'll turn on some paid features with our trials. And then afterwards, you'll have some homework for next week as well. Okay, I saw Kristen. Wait, was that Kristen? I saw a hand. Where's Q?
I was gonna volunteer to for my
Awesome.
home.
Okay. So I'll stop presenting and I'll let you share your screen if you want to show just for a review. Everyone, last week the homework was to add an admin screen that has a list of all the users. And there was some specific items we wanted you to show for each user. And then there was one requirement as far as who can view that. You basically only want your username to be able to access the page. So pretty much anybody can see that link possibly, but only your username would be able to access that link.
Just a minute, Nugget.
I skipped
Oh.
my.
Just a minute, mommy is on. Okay. Oh gosh. Let me start from the beginning. Okay. Oh my gosh. How do you start from the beginning right here?
Um,
Right, you press right here, right?
you can just press preview or I don't know if the share one is going to work from
Just
preview.
it.
But if your preview is not showing up at the very beginning, it could be because you're already signed in.
All right, we gonna come on back to me. Let me get this
Okay.
together.
Did anybody
Sorry.
else want to share? No worries. I can show y'all a little bit more about demoing some of the details of demoing in Adalo as well today.
Okay. I'll be back.
All right. I'm waiting for another brave tribute. All right. We got Alex. Wait, how do I? Can you share Alex, can you share screen? Here we go. And you are muted. I don't know why I can't hear you. Check your mic settings. Can't hear you yet. I guess if you can click through the demo, we can at least see it, depending on if you want me to talk you through some of the settings for the mic.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. uh, so this is the landing screen, and then I can just go ahead and sign in.
You didn't spell your last name right.
I didn't spell my last name right. You know,
There
sometimes
it
you
is.
need just some second eyes just for a second, you know.
Yes, always.
And then this is the profile homepage or whatever. And then this is the link to the admin. And then there's the list of users right here.
Looks good. Very Christmassy.
I couldn't remember how to do permissions, but
I will definitely go through it in detail today. But
yeah.
the homework assignments for y'all is kind of, to challenge you, stretch you, and have you kind of step out and try something new in Adalo. Of course, we will not be able to teach you every single thing that you could possibly know, as just
Yeah.
is the life of a developer. But we'll have you all try some stuff out, and then we'll usually go back and teach it, just so that way you can kind of get familiar and comfortable, because of course when y'all work with the founders, they'll be telling you what the features are that they need, and it'll be up to you to kind of figure it out. So we'll always preview the stuff that we're going to talk about each week through the homework. So I feel like, and we got two
Yeah.
volunteers today, so that's awesome.
I breezed over what the homework was. I didn't realize it said only.
But this is, the admin didn't have to sign in, so I'll take that.
Yeah.
Kristen, did you still want to share as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I'm about to share right now. Okay. Okay. The menu, log out button, admin, and back. That's my functionality right there. I hope
Awesome.
I did it correctly.
The best way to know would be to see if you had another user, if that user
User
has
test.
access to the page or not.
Okay.
Let's see. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna demo everything from the beginning. I should share my entire window. I think this is it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to go through from the beginning on this one. Let me move these back. I don't know how long I'm going to do this, but I'm going to build on the app from last week just because I think it's helpful to see all the features together. And also I was like, oh, I could do something with this. Like by the end of the session, I think I'll probably have a usable app that I will actually be able to bring some folks into. So let's start with it. Let me look at the details. So it says we need an admin screen. We need a couple items that we can see from that screen. Where's my controls? All right. And then put a link to the admin screen on the homepage, but only your username can access. Okay. So I'm going to make a new screen first. So again, I will keep reminding you all, you just pick the blank mobile first. For most cases with the founders, you're going to be building like a mobile app or at least a mobile first type of experience for them. So this will be the admin account overview. You can always change the names of these screens later if you want to. Just click at the very top where the name is. And then when you go over to the left, you can hit the edit. That's how you change those. So I'm going to, first of all, copy and paste my nav bar. If you want to paste it without it, if you copy and paste, again, when I click on here and I copy it, if I just paste it immediately, it's going to paste right on top of the original and it won't be easy to see it. But if I click into my new window, then I hit Command V, it'll paste into that window that time.
Don't think
We
here.
don't see your screen.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, okay. I was like, I hear, wait, why didn't they share my whole thing? Oh, I don't know why I did that. Window. Okay, don't fight with me today, Google. Oh, you know what I did? It has a little notification that says stop, and I think I hit stop. Okay. Y'all let me know like ASAP whenever that happens too. Because I did that last week. Okay. So I just went ahead under here and clicked a new screen, blank mobile first. And then as I was mentioning, if you want to change the name of a screen, just click at the very top of the screen and you can edit the screen name over here. There's some other features you can play with as well. And then I copied my nav bar over into the new screen. So just to delete that, if I click on here and Command C, since I'm on the Mac, I'm using Command. If I was to just paste immediately, it's going to stack right on top of the original. So when you're copying and pasting, if you're like, why isn't it showing up? It's just literally stacking right on top of the original. So one of the ways to avoid that is just click into the new screen and then hit Command V so that it'll just paste. Otherwise, you can just drag and drop it, but it can be a little bit annoying. So I have my navigation over here. I just try to always remember to do that because you will realize you don't have navigation once you go to preview and then you can't get back to another screen or you can't log out. So anywho, this is going to be the admin account overview. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a list. So we talked a little bit about forms last week. I don't think we talked about lists yet. So lists are pretty much always backed by a collection. Okay, so if I go and pick any of the list options here, then it's going to ask me, what is this a list of? And I can say this is a list of users. So whatever collections you have in your database, those are going to show up as an option. And then depending on the type of list you use, they have a bunch of different features as well. So I think we may have talked about this a little bit, but I encourage you all to play around with the list in particular because you'll probably be using them a lot. You can also add different types of filters to this list as well. Not going to do that just yet, but what I am going to do is change what values I'm seeing here. So we want to name, the username, and then the date created or registered. So right now, instead of the email for the title, which is the first line, I'm going to change this one. So I can delete this. And the type of dynamic text that we have in Adalo is called magic text. So for the magic text, I can say I want the current user's full name. So we need the name, we need the username. So next to this where the subtitle is, I'm going to change that one to be the username. So just delete the original text that was here and pick the username instead. And then they wanted the created at. So this the way this list is set up right now, there's some additional sections we could take advantage of, like the right section here. So I'm going to use the right section. I'm going to enable that one. They kind of want it to be an icon. I don't really want an icon. Mm-mm. I don't think that's going to suit my purpose. So let's just tag this on to the subtitle for now. So I'll put the username, then I'll have space. Just for formatting, I'll put a dash in here. And then I'm going to go back and see the created date. So since the lists are automatically connected to a collection, whenever you're going in and trying to fill out the different components of your list items, then everything will be in relation to that specific collection as far as all the magic text. So in this case, I'm just going to make a one-liner here. There are ways to add more components into our different list items or make a custom list. But for the sake of demo, I'm going to do it this way for now. And then I could just, just to make it a little bit nicer, where title, left section would be the avatar, and it'll automatically grab the avatar, so that's fine. Okay, so those are the 3 elements I have to show. Now what I'm going to do is in my navigation, I'm going to add a new menu item. It's a little bit hard to see it. Menu item 5, I guess. This, I can pick any icon. I could have kept the one that was there. Let me put like a lock or something. I liked that. There's something to symbolize that, and this will be admin. So you can't really see it, which is kind of annoying. That's the Adalo interface being kind of weird. But we'll see what it looks like when we preview it. So I have lock, I have admin, and I'm going to add an action. This is a click action. So this is how we were linking pages before. So I'm going to link this to the admin account overview. Now, one thing that is hidden here is the ability to actually have a condition on when you can use this feature or not. So in this case, and this is not necessarily the only way to do it, this is just how I'm going to do it this time. So I'm going to say that I only want this to happen sometimes, and I have to put a couple more properties in my user database in order to accomplish this, but I would be able to check a part of the user status in order to determine whether or not they can actually navigate to this page. So basically, this link will only work if the user is an admin. So the other thing that I would need to do in order to make sure that this is going to work is go to my database. And inside of my users collection, I'm going to add a true false field. This one will be called admin. I usually put the question marks after anything. These are true false. Also, you may have heard of like Boolean. This is the same as Boolean. So I'll put a question mark just so I know I'm asking, is this an admin? So either true for admin or false for not an admin, basically. And then I'm going to go to my records since these folks have not been added as admins or not. Which one am I going to give admin to? Let's see. At a dev girl at Gmail. Okay. And then this is Okay. Let's add an admin on Jessica at Gmail. So I'll come down here, and right now by default it's showing as false. I'll change that one to true. And for the other, it's false by default. So that one is good to go. So Jessica at Gmail has admin access. MetaDevGirl at Gmail does not. So now I have this property in my database. So when I go back to my menu and I take a look at my sometimes, so this will only happen if the logged in user's admin is true. So if admin is true, then they would be able to navigate. Otherwise, the link just isn't going to work for them. So I'll hit done on that. I believe I've came up with all the potentials that we could need to demo. So let's preview it and see if I left anything out. All right, so let's try MetaDevGirl first because this account should not be able to navigate. Did I put it on a specific page? Because I do that sometimes too. Account. Yeah, I put it on. I put it only in the account menu. That's okay. But I'm clicking on admin, and basically nothing happens there. So let's see if I can log out and log in. I hope I know the password. Okay. Apparently, I have to go to the account first so I can see this. Click on admin, and that works for that user. So as you can see, like I was saying, I copy and paste those navigation bars, and it's a little tedious, but you get used to it after a while, remembering to like add. I have to go back and now add that link to every single one of these bars, or I can just copy the newest version of the bar over and kind of fill it in that way. But that's one way that you can do that. Another thing that you could do, this is just another option you can explore on your own time. I might make a quick little video and upload it for y'all, but another thing you could explore is you can actually have, let's see, let's go back to the home page. That's technically where it's supposed to be. I could add a button here. That goes to admin. And in this case, I could do something slightly different. I can still have this navigate to the admin account, but I could change the visibility on the button itself. And that's another thing that you can play around with. So under those three dots at the top right, if I do change visibility, instead of it always being visible, it can be sometimes visible. And again, that's the same situation as before. If the person is an admin and the admin is true, then they'll be able to see that button. Otherwise, they won't. So let's see if I can preview that. So this is my original user. Let's go ahead and log out and go back to my other user. And the button isn't visible for them. So those are just two different types of ways you can think about that. But you will start to pretty much explore these different ideas of how you want to manage access within an application. And I just did it with just one flag, but you can have varying flags. Say if you have, we'll use the example of like two-sided marketplaces, right? Say I have, I think I used this example last week. I have an app where you have personal trainers on one end and you have their potential clients on the other end, right? But then I may also have a third user, which would be an admin in that case. And the admin can see a lot more features, but the clients can only see the option to book with personal personal trainers, and personal trainers, they could see people that have requested them. They could view their schedule, etc. Right? So you can segment features based on the users if you take advantage of having these flags in your database, in your user database in particular. And this is just the standard user table that comes with Adalo when you set up a new app. Did anybody have any questions about that before we jump into some new material?
I have a question.
Go for it.
This may be a little too advanced, but does Adalo have ability to save sessions as well, since we are creating users?
Adalo, so like as far as basically the user being able to like keep their account live through a session, you mean that?
Yeah.
I don't think we have full like explicit access to customize how the sessions work, but yeah. So for example, with this app, like I'm still logged in here, I think. Yeah. So if I get out of this window, but I come back and preview again like 2 days later, I'll still be logged in until I log out. I haven't tested how long the session lasts though, but they automatically manage that for you. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, somewhat. But I was actually thinking on like an admin side where they can actually see the sessions of all login users as well.
Yeah, I don't think we have access to see that much information about sessions. For example, like let's see. Yeah, I don't think we have that visibility, unfortunately. Database. What was I gonna do? Let me come back to I'll play around with it and see if I can see anything else, but I don't think so.
All right.
Any other questions? All right, so let's keep going into our new material. So as I mentioned, we are going to do database collections and look at Stripe integrations today. So I just want to talk a little bit more about the database collections since we have already previewed them. And of course, your app, when you first got it started, it came with a collection in particular, which is the user collection. The user collection that you get by default, you can extend it as you saw. So I added some other fields. I could play around with it and customize it more. But I would, as long as you're using Adalo in a standard way, I would typically keep the user table as is and maybe add on features, just so that way the user and authentication system that Adalo has built in will stay will be working properly. I don't want to, interfere with anything that's kind of hooked up behind the scenes, but I will add on to their collection. So then we can add as many other collections as we would like. There are specific data types in Adalo. So most of these are self-explanatory. You have text numbers. Numbers are kind of interesting because there's a few different features that are built into Adalo. You can do a little bit of math and calculations on numbers, and you can do some formatting on numbers as well. So for example, with currency and things like that. You have the Booleans, which is true, false. You have dates, and you also have date time. So the date time is more specific. It has a lot more details. So it'll have the date as well as a timestamp. And then there's some additional features Adalo can do with that as well, like with timestamps. When you have the actual time, then you can set parameters around maybe how long a user has been in the system and things of that nature. You also have images. So the avatar that we have for our users, that is an example of an image. Usually when you use images in the database, you'll be able to upload them directly from the interface. So when we go into our database, like this avatar here, if I go and add a record, I can also manage these avatars from here. Right, so I can remove this one if I would like to. So you have that access, but then of course, as we showed in the last session, you can give the user the ability to edit these images depending on how you are using them throughout the app. So depending on what collection the image is attached to, you'll be able to create different forms. This form, of course, was created for editing, updating, right? Editing. And then the forms that are at the beginning of the app, this form is for login. Do they show me? Yeah. So you can see those are the 3 different ways that you can use the forms: login, sign up, update. So basically, create, update, and then the sign in is another option as well. And then we also have our location and files. So I don't play around with files too much, but you might find files to be helpful depending on what kind of application that you need to build. And then you have location. Location is a premium feature. So I think we will be able to see location once we go ahead and set up the trial option. So these are the different types that you have to work with. Again, if you already have experience with development and you're used to coding like from scratch, we are going to be probably more limited than what you might be used to, but we're also going to be able to drive a lot more features, and we're going to be able to iterate a lot more quickly with our founders in this way, so that down the line, once they establish what their features need to be and they establish what their clients really want to pay for, then it'll be worth the while for them to start to invest in a more specific tech stack and things like that. So it's a trade-off basically. Then in addition to the collections, you can also set up relationships, which to me is really nice. And the way that Adalo manages the relationships is pretty straightforward. When you are going to be creating 2 tables or 2 collections that have any type of relationship, they can either be a one-to-many or many-to-many. And just depending on which table you're relating to another, you can either choose like one-to-many or many-to-one. Those are basically the same thing, right? And they will always describe the relationship that you are creating, just so you can make sure that you are using the right one. So if you've never really worked with databases in other experiences, then you can just think about the actual descriptions that they give you. So in this case, this is something I'm actually going to be doing today. I want to create a collection for different courses that I can offer. So I have to decide, how does this relationship look? Would I say that a course can have multiple users, but a user only belongs to one course? That literally means a user can only be in one course and that's it. I might find that to be limiting, right? Or that might be the appropriate case. It really just depends. Then the other option is going to be a course can have one user, but a user can have multiple courses, right? So that's just the reverse. These both are still one-to-many, technically. And then in the many-to-many, a user can have multiple courses and a course can have multiple users. So for me, and what I'm doing, I'm going to want my user to have multiple courses, and my course is going to have multiple users, right? So multiple people can take the same course at the same time, but also individuals can sign up for more than one course at a time. That's how I'm going to be setting it up. But you'll just be pretty much asking yourself that question as you set up these collections. And one of the nice things that I like is that with Adalo, you can do a lot of stuff on the fly. So I technically already have my table here just for the sake of the screenshot that's in the slides. But what happens is if the table that I want to relate it to, or if the property I want to relate it to doesn't exist yet, I can add a property and I'll get the relationship option, right? So this is going to help us out significantly because I can relate it to any of these tables. So I just like playing around with Adalo and being able to build these out really, really fast. The other thing that we're going to be looking at today is going to be the Stripe integration. So this is going to be a new feature that you will really want to become comfortable with. As far as working in Adalo, Stripe is pretty, I'm not going to say it's limited. It's mostly straightforward because there's some very specific features you have access to. So if you're not already familiar with Stripe, Stripe is a payment service that pretty much like most apps use nowadays. A lot of different applications integrate Stripe in some way, shape, or form. And for the founders that are in the program, this is like a very key thing for them because at the end of their 6 weeks, one of the most important things is that someone can come onto their app. They can look for a service or whatever whatever is being sold by the company. They need to be able to see that, and then they need to be able to purchase. Like if they don't have the option to purchase to check out, then that's pretty much defeating the purpose of building their MVP. So it'll be a lot of focus put on to making sure that there is a checkout button. Okay. So a checkout button in Stripe can be just as simple as a one-time payment, or they can also manage subscriptions as well. So I might have to open up my Stripe today. This is my Stripe. So, please don't I'm going to try not to show any keys or anything, but I'm also trusting that I'm in good company because I'm going to use my actual Stripe account just to show y'all how some of these things can be set up. So when we do use the Stripe payment integration, it's going to come with a button that we have as well as the marketplace component. So I don't think we'll touch the marketplace component, but we will be using the Stripe Connect button in order to give ourselves the option to check out. So in the marketplace store, you'll see it's called Stripe Kit. And I'm just kind of previewing it, but I'm going to show you all how we can do all of these. So you'll have the ability to grab the Stripe Kit. So it's not a default component that's built in. This is a new component that you'll add into your system. Then once you have it added, you'll see you have an installed section, and this is where all of your marketplace components are going to be, as well as if you were to create any custom components, then you would be able to see those under here as well. And you can even see there's a preview of the different options as far as payment, subscription, the connect button, and then Stripe Marketplace. So I started on a fresh account, and I just encouraged you all not to use your trials, just so you will have you will be able to work through a lot of this stuff without having to depend on putting payments into Adalo for their services. So I think I want to say trial is 2 weeks. Yeah, 14 days. So these are the paid features. Geolocation, that's the location option we saw in the database. So we'll be able to take a look at that. That actually legitimately grabs like the user's current location and stores it in the database for you. You can do some fun stuff with that as well. And then external collections is going to be something we talk about later, I think next week. External collections would be connecting to like outside APIs that you have. For example, you will have this collections API as well. And then the other good, I guess these are the main ones we're going to focus on now, but I'm not going to add an external collection now, but we will definitely be doing that soon. So I have my 14 days on my trial. Let's see. Some things that are going to be unlocked for you now. App, nope. So one I wanted to show you. Oh, it's down here, publish. Oh, I have to upgrade more to publish. Okay, that's fine. All right, so we are going to look at let's add the Stripe component. So if I want to add any components from the marketplace, when you go to the plus sign to add a new component, scroll down to the bottom, and this is where the marketplace link is. So I kind of mentioned this a little bit in our previous class, but take a look through here. Depending on what type of features that you need, you may find a component that's already here, especially the free components. There are also premium components. There are different developers that build custom components. Think of them kind of like as widgets, but they're integrated into Adalo. So you can take advantage of these if you would like. And I think that this is a huge opportunity for developers as well. If you want to kind of like have some side income, looking at what are some of the gaps in the components with Adalo and, building a custom component. So I'm not going to talk about that, in detail, but I want y'all to know that that is a thing. When you build custom components, they use JavaScript. I'm pretty sure they use JavaScript. And when you build a custom component, you can either have the custom component go straight into your application, or you can have it deployed to the marketplace. So that's going to be another option that you have. So there is more documentation specifically around components. For the Tech Town program, I don't recommend you try to make custom components. If you're making custom components, Matt can disagree with me, but I think if you're making custom components in the MVP program, you're probably not focused on the actual MVP. But anywho, so under the components, I can search for Stripe, and this is the Stripe kit. I'll go ahead and click install. And this is a component that is actually made by Adalo, so you can kind of see that at the top. So it's maintained by them, which means it's also shared in their documentation. See if I can. So this docs is the docs that is like code docs. Adalo. The other docs would be the help docs. So here in the help docs, let's see. Where is that one? Marketplace components. And then Stripe is at the bottom here. So I guess that's not in alphabetical order, but Stripe is at the bottom here. So I'm going to copy this and see, do I have Slack open? I will see Stripe. Okay, I post that link in our channel just so you have direct access to it. But you can go through all the different documentation here. If you run into any issues or you have issues like troubleshooting, you have like a bug or anything, then you definitely want to jump in here. And this also just shows you how to configure different types of options as well. So now that we have this component, I can hit done. And I can go back to the plus sign and you'll see now I have the installed option, and then here's private. So private would be, a custom component that's not in marketplace. But under installed, this gives me 4 new components to work with. So it just depends on the type of payment service that you're going to be doing. So you can have a Stripe payment, and you can literally like bring this in and have the ability to integrate this into a specific service. So the most basic payment just takes a credit or debit card in here, and you can check out. But you are going to have to configure this with a Stripe account. Okay, so let's see. How about 10 minutes? Maybe I can show the Stripe config. I have a couple things that are set up. See.
Can we schedule one-to-ones with you as well for extra fee or whatnot?
That's a good question. I got that question a couple times. I was gonna say, I can host like maybe I can host an office hour sessions or something like that for the group, but I can do like one-on-ones. I'm actually adding some coaching and stuff to my site, so that way it's just easier. Which is something I was literally setting up in Stripe. So I can share that with y'all if anybody literally wants to do like more one-on-one type of assistance. But I was thinking of having office hours. Depending on what the availability is, I could host some office hour sessions for the group. Okay, so I'm kind of torn because I know I want to take a break in a minute, and I don't know, Mac, if you wanted to jump in at any point before we get into the nitty gritty. The fact that I just keep randomly calling on you. I can't even see everybody. Wait, do I see bubbles? Okay, all right, we'll keep going. We'll take a break shortly here. Because yes, 2 hours straight is a lot. So we have to configure Twitch Stripe. I have a Stripe account. I hope I know my password. I use different profiles, so let's see. Boo. Okay. There we go. Okay, so I'm just going to use my base account. This is the account that I normally use. And I do have I think I have some new options that I was setting up. All right. I can safely close this window. I'm going to refresh the Adalo window. All right, let me click on this component again. So now it says that Stripe Connect is active. So there's a few things I could configure here. This is the payment option. This is not the subscription, okay? So they are different components depending on what you want to do with them. So the payment option, that's a one-time payment. So I'm going to hook this up to some logic, but I just want to play around with this. So this is going to be a prime example of where you might want to use the payment. You're going to use payment amount here. You'll probably end up using magic text for this. So for courses, I'll want to have something like the actual fee for the course, right? So someone can pay for the course and then they can check out. You can change your currency types, of course. And then you have some other details here. So there's the description, then there's the email, and then the submit button, you can customize it a little bit. One of the things that you really have to be super careful of is the receipt email. Last I checked, this is a required field, even though there's nothing here to show you that it's required. So if you were to try to use this field right here without having an email, then it's going to throw an error, but it's not going to be a very detailed error. So that is just a gotcha that I've learned through experience. We had a lot of issues with that in the past. And then you also want to look at test mode. So test mode is going to be, it'll give you the ability to be able to check out with this particular component without having to use real payment details, and also yeah, mostly just without having to use real payment details. So you definitely want to put it in test mode. So once you put it in test mode, though, there's going to be a couple of details that you need. So you need your publishable key and a secret. Adalo is pretty helpful with the integrations, especially the ones that they have developed. For the most part, with their own custom components, especially, they'll usually have the direct links into the documentation or into, like in this case, it goes straight to the dashboard to show you exactly where you need to be in order to get the information you need. So that a lot of that is integrated into the UI. So in this case, they take me straight to the dashboard where the publishable key and the secret are. So I can click to copy my publishable key. Command V. And then my secret key is hidden for me. I wish I could copy it without, I wish I can copy it without showing it, but let's see. Reveal, just in case we decide to put this one on YouTube. Like publicly eventually. Okay. I never know. So I have my key, have my other key. So we're in test mode. We have both of those configurations. And then you can see too in my dashboard now, it shows that I'm in test mode. So here's some things about working with Stripe as far as especially with testing. When you are in test mode, you should never be putting in real payment details. That literally defeats the purpose of using test mode, but also it's against their rules in their API. So when you go here, I'll show you Stripe API payment methods. I think this is the one. You know what? I think it's going to be linked here more directly. Oak Talks and components, marketplace, Stripe. Let's see if they, yeah, test mode card. I don't see it. Okay, hold on. Let me grab the link for y'all. Slack. This is going to be, this will be the link that gives you all of the cards that they have available. So Stripe makes different payment options that you can use. So when you're in test mode, you should use their payment cards. That'll be in here. Here we go. So stripe.com/docs/test mode. And I'll post those for y'all in our Slack channel. All right. So here in the docs, here are the test card numbers. They have a link for you. You can see all the test card numbers. And again, they definitely explicitly let you know never to use a real payment method in test mode. Okay. So here are the test card numbers. And you can fill these in your browser just like any other payment method. So the 4242 one, I actually have this one like saved to my browser. So like when I check out, this is always an option, but it makes it helpful for demoing and testing. So they have some requirements around how you should format it. So for example, they'll give you the specific numbers depending on what type of card brand that you are trying to test out. And then they'll tell you how you should do your CVC or your date. So for CVC, you know, if it's 4 digits, it needs to be any 4 digits. Same thing if it's 3 digits, any 3 digits. And then you always want to pick a future date for your card. So if I just want to test this out right now, just to see that this is working, I'm going to hit a preview. And I would go here and do 424242. Any future date, so 12, 24, and then any CVC. So there's no amount here, that's fine. I'm going to save this. You can't really see that pop up, but it asks to save it to the browser. So this error I have now because I'm not actually giving a value to check out with, but that's fine. So we're going to keep building on this. I want to take a break and then we're going to come back. What I want to do is give the users and the ability to see some courses, pay for a course and check out. So that's what I'm going to be demoing in our second half of class. But for now, we're going to take a 10-minute break and we'll start back at 6:11. Oh, I should have kept sharing. Hold on. All right. Can you? Okay. Hopefully, my mic was acting weird. Okay, but we are back, so we're gonna jump back in, everybody. Let's see. Oops. Or- All right. Let's go here. Here we go. Okay. So I have basically the starter app. We have the ability to see that we have admins and non-admins. And technically, I have already created a table for courses, but there's really nothing in here. Whenever you create a new collection by default, it's going to create the name field, but otherwise, nothing else has been added here. So I'm going to be starting from this point. So again, if you want to follow along and play around with this, you can. Um, if you want to explore some other options that you kind of have in mind, I highly encourage you to do that as well. So my goal is that what I want to do is I want to add some courses. I'm going to have a couple different properties, including I'm going to make sure that my courses have the fee that's associated with the course. I want my users to be able to log in and they will see a list of all the courses that are available. And then they would be able to click on the course that they're interested in and they'll be able to purchase that course. Then afterwards, they'll be able to see any of the courses that they have paid for. So they should have access to those. Okay, so those are the features I'm going to be building in. Let's see. All right, so I got my little reference screenshot, so I know what all my screens are going to be. Feel free to throw a hand up at any point if you have a question. Just hit the raise hand button and meet. Ooh, ooh, ooh. All right. So first things first, I'm going to build out some courses. So as I mentioned before, right now, the courses, they just have this name, which was the default field. So even if I was to delete this collection, um, start from the beginning, I can click add to database, add a collection, and this will be courses. So the name of the course is here by default. A couple other things I care about with the course. I'm going to give a number, which is going to be the fee. I'm going to add a true or false. This will be if the course is open, because I may want to close registration for a course, or I may want to have courses that are listed, but I might want them to be in draft mode. They might have a go live time or something like that. And if you kind of think about that, because I don't want to get too nitty gritty with the details, but that's a potential that I could use the time date for date time property. Maybe, I want courses to go live after a specific time. The date time property would give me that type of ability in combination with filters. So we have our name, we have our fee, we have open. Then I could do some other things. I could give like a quick description of the course. And then I'm going to also add an image. And this will just be it'll just be a course image, literally, like just a little icon or graphic I can use for that course. Now, the last property I want to have for now is the relationship, and I want to tie my courses and users together. So notice because I am starting from the courses, I'm adding this property here. So I'm tying courses to users. So now in this case, this is where we have to choose our relationship. As I mentioned earlier, I want the ability for my users to be able to register for as many courses as they would like. And of course, every course should have multiple users in it. I never want to have a course that only has one user. So I'm picking what is also considered to be the many to many relationship here, if that's a terminology you're more comfortable with. So a course can have multiple users and a user can have multiple courses. So then that automatically just sets a field called users here. And you'll notice this little, like, it's like a couple pages with a little chain option. That's how you know that that is a relationship field. So since this is a many to many, it automatically created the courses field for the users table as well in that case. So I think I have all I want to have set up to get this, the bare bones of this. So there's a few things I'm going to do. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually set up some courses. So let's go under records, right next to it where it says 0 records, and I click on there. I can add courses here. So I'm just going to add 2 courses for now. I'll add a JavaScript. Let's see. I can do beginner JavaScript. Say I could put a fee, and I will say, yes, this is open. So at least I'll have some type of description. And then my image, I went ahead and downloaded some images. So I have the JavaScript logo. So that's what I'm going to use for this course. And then I'm also going to add our MVP developer training with Adalo. And this one was 100, say, introduction to no code. Okay, and then we'll have an image. All right, so of course you can have as many courses as you would like, but I'm just going to have these for now. I am going, for the sake of testing, I'm going to add I want to add a course that I don't want it to be open just yet, so I can showcase a an example there. Okay, so false as far as open, say this is an I don't really have an image. That's okay. I'll save it. And now I have at least a few records in the table. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this because that's not really needed anymore. I'm even going to drag this admin button down to the bottom. Okay. So I want to show a list of the courses here. So on the home page, when you sign in, I'm going to do a list. So these are the most used components that they kind of show you by default, but I can go ahead and scroll through and go to the list option. There's a lot of different lists. This like actually is one of the bigger categories. So in this case, I think it'll be nice to do a card list. I kind of, yeah, these are the same because this is also a card list, but that's a horizontal. I want the cards to stack vertically. So I'm going to add this into this page. So whenever you use list, a list is always connected to a collection. So in this case, this is going to be a list of courses. I'm not going to do anything too special here. The only thing I want to do is add a filter. So instead of all courses, Let's do a custom filter. And I'm going to say open is true. So I only want to show the courses that are open. I think otherwise that should be fine. With this particular list type, you can do 1 or 2 columns. So you can do just a single, or you can do masonry style. If you do 2 columns, you can do masonry, or you can do grid. Masonry is like if the cards are not the same size, then they'll just kind of wrap together. But grid will kind of force each row to be the same height. So for me, I think it'll be nice if it's just in the single column. And then I'm going to show the most important information. So up top for the image, it's already set to be the current course image. So that's good. For this is set to be the course name. The subtitle is where I am going to put, delete the old text. This is where I'm going to put the fee. And then in the body, this is where I'm going to put the course description. Magic text. Yeah. Description. Under the formatting, you can get a little bit more specific. So like if you wanted to change the alignment for whatever reason, if you want to change the actual font color and everything for these different sections, that's where you would have that, changing the actual font type as well. Since we have a premium upgrade now on the trial, we actually can change to any Google fonts that we want. And I don't think the font I use, I like this font for a lot of stuff, but I don't think my default font is in here. So I won't play around with it, but any of the Google fonts are available to you all now. So if you want to know what other options you have, you can just click explore available, and that'll show you, literally go to the Google Fonts website. And then once you know which font you want, you can just type in the specific font. So that is a premium feature, but you should have it unlocked now. All right, so I think course name, course fee, and course description are good. What I'm going to do from here is there's a couple things. So once the user clicks on the course, that needs to take them to a checkout page. And then after checkout, they also will need to be able to view their full list of courses. So there's 2 more screens I'm going to be creating. So let's go ahead and set the screens, and then I'll show you how to link those all together. So this screen is going to be the course checkout. And then the other screen I'm going to add would be the user courses. Okay, so these are all the pages I'm working with so far. All right, so now this is what we can do. When a person clicks on the specific course that they're interested in, I want them to navigate to the checkout. So I'm going to go to the click actions on the list, click add an action, and I'm going to link this to the course checkout page. Now, this is where things get really interesting in Adalo, because Adalo does have the ability to, at a basic level, manage some data flow. Okay, so depending on which course I choose on this page, when I navigate to the next page, then Adalo is going to have access to that current course info, and that's very, very important. And of course, whenever you navigate, you always have these other options as far as if this should happen always or sometimes. I'm good with the default, but I just want to make sure that when I navigate to the course checkout, I do have the current course available to me. You won't typically see the user info in here, but you will always have the logged in users info as well. So that one doesn't show up, but you always have that data. This is important to me because, as you saw when I was showing the demo of the checkout button earlier, with the checkout button, it doesn't have it wasn't working because I didn't have a price for the item that I was checking out with, right? So the fee is going to actually be the checkout price, which is why I need to make sure I have that as an option. Admit. Okay, so let's go ahead and, yep, I got course checkout. All right, so now I'm going to go over to the course checkout page and I'm going to build this one out. So let's add the payment installed, and this is a Stripe payment, just a regular Stripe payment. I could also, choose to do like the subscription, but for now I'm just going to do a one-time payment. My Stripe Connect is active, and I need to fill out all of these different fields, but I also want to put a little bit more detailed information on this page as well. So let's see. I can use some different components here. Let's use the image. So I'll put an image, move it down here because I am going to put my nav bar in there. So I have an image. And then let's get some text in here. So this text will be the current course name. And I'm going to do the description too. So Command C, Command V, it pastes on top of each other. So if I drag it away, now I can see the one I pasted in. So instead of the course name this time, for the second one, we'll do the description. Then I'll Command C, Command V, and just drag this one down. And I'm going to put the price here. Again, I could definitely play around with the styling of it if I would like. I can change the sizing and things like that. That's under formatting. So like I can make that much bigger for the name. Nothing too crazy. Put the fee. And then have the description. All right. Then at the bottom, this is where we're going to configure. So let's do, for the payment amount, get rid of the 0. Here's one thing to note about Adalo. If you already have something in the field and then you go and click like some new value, like I want the current course fee, it's just going to populate in with whatever text was originally there. And that causes bugs sometimes if you don't notice it. So it's just a little thing to be aware of. So I'll make sure I delete the original 0. So there's my course fee as the payment amount to the Stripe component. And then under the charge description, it's up to you how you want to format these. I could put the charge description is going to be included in the Stripe checkout process. When the customer gets their notification email, they'll usually see this. And it'll be a part of how their billing looks. So you can kind of think of making it something that's unique to that transaction, and making it descriptive enough that they know what they're being charged for when they see it on their statement. So this will be the current course name. And then I could put the date in here or something like that. So just so it's a little bit like it'll jog their memory. Date, time, current. Let's do current time. Okay. The recipient email, like I mentioned, when you navigate to the page, you only saw that you had access to the current course. However, in Adalo, you always have access to the current user's information as well. So under the buyer email, I can just set this as the logged in user's email. And then the submit button, if you want to customize it, you can. So instead of the pay now, I can say, purchase, and then I'll put the course name. Okay, so that'll be good. And then Let me pick my brand color. Okay, and now from here, once you're done with the configuration, you also want to decide what happens after the payment is successful. So this is basically the actions again, right? So I'm going to add a link and I'll automatically send the user to the user courses page. And again, you can see because of the flow of data, technically, they will still have access to the current course that they were paying for, but we won't really need that at that point. But it's good to see what data is going to be available to you. So we are going to go ahead and check out. We'll see which item we're checking out, and then we're going to go to the course page. So now let's display all the courses, but only the ones that the user has paid for. So I'm going to create a new list just like I did before. And let's just do a simple list. This is going to be a list of courses still. So it's still a list of courses, but I'm going to use a filter. So in this case, instead of just all of the courses, this is going to be a list of the logged in users courses. So under the filter section, the first filter section, these will be a little bit more based off of the relationships that you have between your collections. But then if you need to get a little bit deeper, that's where you can add the custom filters like I did before, where I could look at a specific field on that. I could look at a specific field on that collection. All right, so we have those, and then, just go ahead and build out the rest of your page. So course name is good. Left section is the image. That's good. I'm going to change the subtitle. And then add a magic text. Description. And then subtitle, you can choose the max number of lines, 1 line, 2 lines, or no max. I think for now we are good. I am going to copy my nav bar so I can navigate back. Or at least log out. So let's go preview and see if I skipped anything. Ooh, that is like a really big I can change this. I'll fix that. But I can see that only 2 of my courses are showing now. So there was 3, but 1 is not open. So that one is not showing. So I know my filter is working well. Then let's say I want to take beginner JavaScript. It shows me the the image isn't showing. It shows me the title, the price, and then let's test the checkout. So I'm using one of those cards. And then say purchase. You can't see it, but it does pop up saying save. Oh, I'm in live mode right now. That's a good error to get. So make sure I turn test mode on. And I will copy my keys back in for this. To do my authentication. All right, so again, I'm just going to copy the publishable key and the secret key from here and add those values back in. Okay. My values are here. All right, so let's refresh. Go back home, go to JavaScript. And I'll save that card to check out. Oh, did I fix my filter? Yeah. It's not showing my courses. So that's something I want to go back and check in. Let's see. Oh, no, it should have changed it. Let's see. Let's look at the database. Let's see. My user. The courses didn't get assigned. Okay. I know what I need to do. So when the user checks out, we have our navigation, right? Our link. We should also update. Yeah, let's update the logged in user and we will add to their courses. We will add the current course. So that is a database update that we need to do. So we should be good after that. So once they check out and pay for the course, then the course will get added to their user courses. So let's go into preview again. And since I did save this in my browser, I think y'all couldn't see it, the pop-up that happened, but I did save that to my browser. Trying to find y'all. Hold on. Too many windows. Okay. So I did save the payment method. So to me, it's really just convenient when that's already set up for you. So now I can check out. And now I can see that I am in the beginner JavaScript course. Let's go back to the home and see if I can buy Adalo as well. So now both of my courses show up. One thing, let me know if y'all have questions because this is like this is the bigger part of the demo. But let me know if y'all have some questions. And one of the things I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go and update how this image shows up in this card right here. So the image is getting clipped off. Title, subtitle, image. What I'm going to do is instead of landscape, let's try square and do the middle. No, I don't want that. I always feel like, okay. I'm going to try square for that one. You can also have backup images as well if you would like. Either don't show anything or you can put a placeholder in here. Okay, so let's see how it looks. That's even worse. If I can't get it to look the way I want it to, that's okay. But y'all have no questions? Everything just made sense? Square portrait landscape. Thumbs up. Okay. Let's see. Okay, here's something that I wanted to kind of talk to you all about, and we'll see this a little bit more as you spend more time in Adalo. One of the limitations with the data flow. So right now, this page right here, no. Uh, yeah, I guess this page. This page right here has access. I know what data it has access to. If I click at the very top of the page and I look at available data, off to the left, we have a section for available data. And I can see that the current course data is available here. Now in Adalo, when you start to have different screens and they all are linking to the same pages, but they don't have access to the same data, it can break your it can break your workflow. So say I have just like a random like customer service page. So I'm going to have this customer service. I'm actually going to drag it out. And if this is like, just for demo purposes, if I go and put button and link it, add an action link, and say I link it to the course checkout. So by me having this web page, or not web page, but by me having this this screen here that links to a page that has data that it needs, but this customer service page does not have access to the same data as the course page, right? So this presents a problem. This actually breaks my workflow. You will notice now, since this page is also linking to that screen, that it says there is data missing from this link. And now literally on this page up top, my course checkout page, it no longer has any available data. It actually shows that the current course is missing from customer service. So this is one of those, like, I would say this is definitely a gotcha, and this is a bit of a limitation in Adalo. And the reason why I'm showing you this now is because this can become very helpful to know ahead of time when you're building out your workflows. Again, we're not trying to, build the most scalable app that is going to host like millions of users. This is the MVP phase. So we are going to be able to take advantage of Adalo, but there are certain limitations that we may have to work around. This is definitely one of them. So I would just take this into consideration as you start to work through the app. I recommend, we're building demos in class every single week. Whenever you have the time, go and try to build, just build small apps. Whatever ideas you come up with, try them out in Adalo and see what it takes to build those different components. Play around with all the features. And especially as you start to build more data in your applications, you may you may run across this issue here. So for example, some of the ways, there's different ways that I've been able to work around this, but for the most part, the biggest way that I've worked around this as I am transitioning to a more fully featured app that is built on Adalo, one of the big ways that I've been working around this is that I am actually transitioning into using Adalo as the front end, and I'm building an API for the app that I'm working on right now. So that's a little bit further down the line. Obviously, it's definitely out of the scope of the MVP program itself, but there's just things, it's just things to consider. So I want that to be on your radar for sure, so that if you run into that issue, or when you run into that issue, you know that it's not just you, and figure out ways that you can circumvent that. So we have about 12 more minutes. I can answer questions, and I don't know if Mac is still here, if you wanted to jump in at any point. I was trying to think. Oh, there was a couple other things I wanted to show you all in here. And so when you click on the home page, actually looking at that, you can notice that that's a special type of page. It has the home icon. And then if you go back in your flow, you can see the user with a key as well. So these are some special designations for these pages. So if I go and hit edit next to welcome, I can see that this designation, the little person with the key, that's the welcome screen. So the welcome screen is the first screen that the user will see if they are not logged in. Okay. Versus the home screen. The home screen is the first screen a user will see if they are already logged in. So you can take advantage of this with onboarding. If you have, a lot of apps, when you first load them up, it'll give you a couple screens that tells you how that app works, right? So you can actually build some onboarding into your workflow. So I could build out a little bit of onboarding here if I wanted to, and bring the user through and give them a little bit of description of the app first. And then again, that would only be if a user is not logged in. If they're already logged in, then they're going to be able to go straight to their homepage. So those are a couple of the navigation designations. So I want you all to be aware of those. There are, when you do links, there you can also choose transitions. Okay, so there's some basic transitions in here. You can take advantage of those if you would like to, just for a little bit more seamless experience for the users. I think that's kind of it for now. So let's go back to our slides for a moment and wrap up. I think I've seen at least one question in Slack that I didn't get to that I want to talk about now. Do, do, do. Uh, uh, uh. I put the same. Oh, this is the wrong week. Okay. I was like, what? Here, let me get y'all slides. Mhm. All right. So we did our component, configured it. And we had another challenge in here that I think would be helpful for you all. So you can try to build this app, which is a simple survey app. So with this app, you are going to basically have a screen that allows you to fill out some details. It allows your user to fill out some details about themselves. Then you will give a summary of the survey results and then list out the survey results. Okay. And you can hide the results just by admin. And in addition to that, what you can do is allow, let's see, I think I have something in here for this. I want you to implement a system where the user is going to have to pay before getting the survey results. Okay, so you will have to create a payment screen, add a Stripe component, and of course, these are just the steps to follow through with that. And you can make your results page. So there's a lot of details in here as far as like what we need for this application, but this is up to you. You can, I would say, like I said, you can build this from the ground up and build a very new app, or you can actually build this feature on to the existing if you're doing something similar to what I've been doing, if you want to follow along with that one. I will demo next week a survey. In this case, this would be appropriate for my app because it would allow me to make sure that, I'll go back to it, I can get some programming experience for the users of my app. And then I kind of already have something that I have them paying for, but I don't know if you all have been following along, if you have something that you're having your users pay for. So these are some options that you have. I will put a PDF of the slides in our folder, our Google Drive folder. So you'll have the challenge for this week, as well as the slides that we went through today. And then once the recording is up, because it does take a little bit of time for it to download and then upload. I'll let y'all know when those are available as well. All right. Any final questions in general? Anything that you may have posted last week that I didn't answer? All right, folks. Well, I hope that I mean, it's a little bit nerve-wracking to me if you don't have questions, but it's okay. If anything comes up during the week, you can post them in Slack, and feel free to actually tag me if you need me to see something, like mention me. But you all can definitely interact with each other as well. And if you have not already, please do introduce yourself in the channel so everybody can get to know each other. I will be posting my intro as well. I was supposed to do that, but I end up doing a bunch of stuff for class logistics. Antonio.
Hey, it's actually Tone. I'm only
Okay,
Antonio with my intro.
that's fine. So
So I don't want to leave you frustrated. So did you see my question in Slack?
I did, but can you describe, because I was looking at your question and I feel like it could have been going in two different directions.
Okay.
You were talking about dynamic text in Adalo.
Yeah. Well, I already spoke with Mac earlier, but this is this. Don't want to leave you frustrated. So when I looked at the video, since I missed last week, I saw that you had to change the title in every screen that you had the title on. So my question was, can you create a dynamic component where you can just put that component on each screen and change the component, and then it'll change wherever the component is?
To my knowledge, no. The best thing that I have been able to do that's kind of similar would be you can copy and paste the components that already are linked to specific fields from the database. But the one challenge that I was talking about earlier with having different pages linking to pages that have like data that they need, you will run into some issues there. That's actually originally how I figured out that that was a problem. So like, for example, say I'm like, oh, I literally could have copied this course list. I could copy that and paste that on this page, the user page, and then just decide to filter it. But this page has access to the course data. This page has these two pages basically have access to the same thing because it's a part of the flow. So when I paste it in, I shouldn't break anything. And then all I would have to do, instead of it being all courses, right? Open courses, I would just change the filter. But just having a component that keeps track and always has that access, none of the components I've seen would have that ability.
I guess we don't have any more questions then.
No worries. All right, y'all. We can go ahead and wrap up. I didn't know if let me see. Looks like Mac might not even be here anymore. Okay, cool. So yeah, I will see y'all next week on Thursday. Again, feel free to reach out and please intro yourself in Slack if you have not, so you all can kind of get to know each other as well. And I will be posting the recording shortly. You'll be able to find all of that information in the pinned links in Slack. So have a good evening, everyone.
Do the same.
Good night, Jessica.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Good night. Where?